I remember the exact moment the YouTube video popped up in my recommended. The channel was Soap Queen TV, and I watched as a woman made soap from mixing water, lye, and oils together. The moment was like lightning. Something happened to me after that video, and I'm the kind of person who just deep dives headfirst into an interest, finding out everything that I can. Before becoming a professional soap maker, I was a technical writer. I basically was the guy in the company that took all of the information on how something worked and created a document explaining that to everyone else. I was kind of like the bridge between experts and the rest of the company. I have a natural curiosity for how things work, and not only do I need to find out everything I can by consuming any literature, videos, or websites on that topic, but I have to actually do the thing. Hey everybody, this is my first entry in kind of a soap diaries, I guess, where I just wanted to talk about my latest bar of soap and what went right and what didn't go right. Cutting that first soap was incredible. I loved that little peach soap I made, and from there, I began to experiment with different scents, adding exfoliants, making different soap shapes, trying more than one color, experiencing my first soap seizing, and yes, making my first soap that looked like meat. Who would have thought I'd go from making tiny batches for myself and my husband to making and selling hundreds of soap bars across America? Thanks to Soap Queen TV, now Brambleberry's channel and website, I have the skills to create intricate and beautiful soap designs like this pastel rainbow soap I'll be making in today's video. The soap making method I'll be using in today's video is cold process soap making. I'll be creating a solution with lye and water and then blending that with oils and butters. This is how soap has been made for centuries, ever since our ancestors discovered soap by mixing oil and wood ash. Did you know that it takes a very specific amount of water and lye to convert fat into soap? I use a website called soapcalc.net to figure this out since I'm terrible at math, and I've linked this site in my description below if you want to check it out. Once I have my basic recipe, I then think about the type of soap I want to make. For this soap, I was inspired by Brambleberry's Prism collection, which they sent to me. This collection is rainbow inspired, perfect for June, and I knew as soon as I sniffed over the rainbow, I had to make a pastel rainbow soap using this fragrance oil and some of the beautiful micas in this collection. One of the most important things when making soap and working with lye is to protect yourself. Long sleeves, goggles, and gloves will go a long way in protecting your skin from contact with lye. Also, when the lye is dissolving in water, fumes will waft up and you do not want to breathe that in. I use a respirator to protect my lungs, and I recommend you do too. Lye will get very hot when dissolved in water. Make sure you're using a container with a PP5 rating so that it can withstand the heat of the lye and its corrosiveness. This super hot lye solution will take a while to cool down, so let it cool to below 100 degrees Fahrenheit before you add any oils or butters to it. Speaking of oils and butters, I'm using coconut oil and mango butter, which are both solid at room temperature. We're going to need to melt these down completely to be able to mix it with the lye. I'll be using a mix of sunflower oil, hemp oil, sweet almond oil, and castor oil. These don't have to be heated at all, so I just measure them out and wait until the coconut oil and mango butter are melted to combine them all together. As soon as I smelled over the rainbow, I knew this was the one. There's notes of strawberry, amber, and bergamot, which is a dream blend for me. It's not too sweet, and it's perfectly light, just like what you'd expect passing through a rainbow would smell like. I also liked how this fragrance oil doesn't cause soap to accelerate and won't discolor the soap and ruin the colors that I have planned. I prep my colors by pouring a little bit of apricot kernel oil into a small dish and then mixing it with the mica until I've formed a light paint. The colors from this collection are absolutely gorgeous, like this perfect pink ultra sparkle mica. Just wow. This mica and the others in this collection, including Lagoon Green, Blushing Pink, Gold, Luna, and Lilac Mirage, had kind of a chunky consistency to it, so I wasn't sure what the final colors would be like. Once my hard oil and butter has melted, I add these to the soft oils. Then I wait a bit to allow everything to cool down to below 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The oils and butters I use make an amazing soap that won't strip my body of its natural oils, but I also add a few things to make the soap even better. I add some clay for a soft satin glide on the skin and a little bit of sodium lactate for a harder soap. And when everything is below 100 degrees Fahrenheit, I add my lye solution to my oils and stick blend everything until all trace of the oil is gone and everything has emulsified. When working with new fragrances, I don't like to blend for too long. Some fragrances can cause soap to get harder faster, and since I'm making a rainbow soap with 5 colors, I want all the possible time I can get. To make the colors even, I split my batch into 5, calculating the exact amount of soap for each color. You'll also want to use the same amount of fragrance oil for each color, as eyeballing this may make one color accelerate faster or slower than the others. It was at this point I was starting to get a little nervous. Not only was the soap batter getting harder a little faster than I was expecting, but the purple color was a very unsightly shade of brown, not purple. I noticed that the fragrance oil was very yellow, so I suspected that the fragrance oil was causing the colors to look a little off, but something told me to trust it, and I just kept going. My faith was really being pushed, though, when I mixed the Lagoon Green mica. This soap did not look green at all, but again, I gritted my teeth and just kept going. When working with new micas and fragrance oils, it can be really hard to predict how they're going to behave in soap. There's a lot of trial and error in soap making, but for me, that's part of the fun. And as you can see, by the time I pour the green soap in, the soap was really getting chunky, and when it pours like this, a quick back and forth to even everything out does the trick. When it still moves like this, I don't panic quite yet. There's still plenty of time for me to work with it. I was envisioning a cool rainbow swirl design starting with purple and blue, with green and yellow in the middle, and eventually ending with a soft pink top. One of the most addictive things about making soap is coming up with the design, the colors, the swirls, or no swirls, or just one color if you want. It's completely up to you, and the more soap you make, the better grasp you'll have as to what pouring technique you like best. There's so many ways to pour soap into a mold, and after hundreds of batches later, I still can't believe some of the results I get. The perfect pink mica was looking a little peach to me too, but again, I was just going to trust the process. Okay, we've arrived at my favorite part, sculpting the tops. Over the years, I've perfected my preferred way of finishing a soap. I make these ridges along the sides of the soap and then spoon the rest of the soap on top. I then use a thin metal tool to break up the edges and create beautiful soft swirls that look a lot like ice cream. And lately, I've also been spraying a light mist of mica on top, and I decided to use Lilac Mirage from the Prism collection. This was 100% the right choice because the effect is stunning. Now that the soap's been poured, I clean up and then leave the soap to solidify over 48 hours. And here we arrive to the most rewarding part, cutting the soap. I've cut a lot of soap over the years, but I've never gotten over the thrill of cutting a big log of soap and seeing what the inside looks like. Learning how to make soap can seem overwhelming, especially if you encounter a soap making video like this one, where I make a complicated design using a lot of colors and all sorts of additives. So it's important to remember that you can, and probably should, start small and simple. Keep your projects straightforward and get used to the process and method before you dive into anything too complicated. That peach soap I made, my very first soap, that was a pretty awesome soap. And you'll find that most homemade soap, no matter how it's made, is pretty awesome. And one of those DIYs that not only you can really use, but also gift to a friend or family member. I absolutely recommend checking out Brambleberry's channel and website There's so many projects that can get you started on your soap making journey, just like it did for me. And maybe in time, you will find yourself cutting into some pretty cool soap. I am absolutely in awe with how these soap bars turned out. I think they look absolutely beautiful. And I have seen rainbow soaps before, but I don't think I see a design like this very often where there's swirls. It's amazing when I have a vision for a soap and it comes out exactly how I wanted it to. The colors from the Prism collection are gorgeous. That pale pink and the light green and the gray blue just all go together so well. And I'm super impressed. I think these soaps are gonna do really well. I think they're perfect for June. And I especially love these shimmery tops. It kind of looks like glass. I love it, hands down, the prettiest soap I have ever made. And you can get your hands on these soaps. They should be up on my shop right now. So if you want a bar for yourself or you want to gift this to a loved one, you can do that. Check out the link down below. I hope you guys liked this video. I wanted to thank Brambleberry really quickly for sponsoring this video and providing all of the supplies that I needed to create these gorgeous soaps. If you are as impressed with the Prism collection as I am, then you can go check that out. That is also linked down below. All of the fragrances, all of the colors get a huge thumbs up from me. Thank you so much, Brambleberry. But this is the end of the video for me. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a huge thumbs up. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. You guys are so awesome. You know, I appreciate you, and I hope to see you in the next video when I post it. So until that next video, keep smiling and keep being awesome. Bye, guys.